You didn't see that. Hello, good afternoon. It's Saturday, or what day is it?
14th of January.
It's Saturday, the 14th of January, and I'm in Grantham, home of Fighting for the Grantham Hospital campaign group. They've been an amazing force the last 6 months, and I'm delighted to be here talking to Melissa and Sarah. Hello.
Hello!
Now, we can't point that way because, of course, what is that over there?
That's an accident, an emergency.
It's a rare beast.
It's an A&E!
Yes, an A&E. Well, it was a 24-hour A&E.
It was.
Tell us a bit more about what it is now.
Well, it's a not so 24-hour A&E. It's open from 9 in the morning till 6:30 in the evening.
Then
And
what?
then we're left to fend for ourselves in the evening.
Right, so there's no activity at the A&E.
Not at the accident and emergency department. There is a 6:30 to 11:30 minor injuries unit, which apparently is a walk-in centre, but it has got a locked door, so you can't actually walk in. You have to access it round the back of the hospital, you know, on a one-way system, and you have to ring a doorbell to be let in. More often than not, you're asked to phone 111, so you are asked to leave the building and premises again to go out and actually phone for 111 to see if you actually are eligible to go into the minor injuries unit. So it is not a walk-in centre.
So it could be, in theory, you're sat in your car ringing 111 outside
People
the door.
have actually done that. They've
Yes.
actually gone back to their car, rung 111, waited several hours to get a phone call back, to actually access the facility. Now, the 6:30 to 11:30 minor injuries unit then extends into an out-of-hours service beyond that till 8 o'clock in the morning. A&E does not open till 9, so between 8 and 9 every morning on the school run.
Right.
And for 7 days a week, there is no emergency cover in Grantham at all.
So I'm an emergency A&E, good old-fashioned blue light ambulance, 24-hour A&E. Only now I'm 9 till 6?
9 till
Right.
6:30.
6:30.
Okay, if you're the MIU, what hours are they?
6:30 till 11.
6 to 11. You're the out of hours.
And that continues.
So A&E, I deal with most everything. What do you deal with as an MIU?
I deal with minor illnesses and sprains and cuts and burns.
And if I've got a real emergency, what do I have to do then?
You have to ring 111 and they will divert you to the best place for your care, i.e. Lincoln Hospital, which is full.
Lincoln Hospital is full, and also how far away?
It is 35 miles away on unlit B&A roads.
Right, okay. You're out of hours, what can you offer?
I generally offer a 111 service which will also send you anywhere else but Grantham. Seriously, you couldn't make
What
this
we've
up.
recently become aware of is that our out-of-hours service is not usually manned by a GP.
Right.
It is manned by a nurse practitioner,
Okay.
which is all well and good, they do their job brilliantly, but we are sent to other areas such as Newark and Melton and Skegness even sometimes, because they have a GP and we don't.
You mean a consultant?
No, just a GP.
Just a GP. Okay. So there's not even other clinical consultant team, is there?
No.
Right.
And when you ring 111, you're generally afforded the excuse that Grantham is either closed or not available. And you could be sat outside ringing 111, like I explained a moment ago. You could go there, be asked to ring 111 because they won't let you in unless it's, you know, an obvious case that you
Right.
need to be seen. And they will divert you to anywhere but Grantham. When you demand to go to Grantham, the 111 operator will tell you that, oh yes, Grantham is coming up as a second or third choice on my system. Yes, you can go there with those symptoms.
I've not used one, but a second or third choice.
It comes up on their screen that Grantham is second or third choice, which to us manipulates statistics of how many people are actually using the facility.
Yeah. So when did the A&E start closing in the evenings?
17.
Yep, 17th of August last year.
And that's when your campaign kicked off.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
how did it start?
Well, it was a lady called Jodie sat in her house, quite annoyed one day, and just thought, do you know what? I'm going to start a group and see who else is feeling the way I feel about this closure. And
Right.
it just hit off from there, really.
And how many people have you got as part of the campaign?
I think we're bordering on 10,200 people who are following the group on Facebook,
Right.
as well as obviously the people who don't communicate with the internet. They follow us through the media.
Sure. And are you finding, what's the population of Grantham?
The population of Grantham is around 40,000, but the district that it covers, the A&E, is actually 137,000.
Okay. And you've had a big march. I remember that. I've seen on Facebook. What other things have worked for the campaign?
Well, it's all about keeping up the pressure, firing off emails left, right and centre, making people aware that we're not going away. We've also been heavily researching into things, trying to get information to, slip people up, making sure we attend meetings all the time, making sure that our presence is known, networking with other campaign groups, finding out that actually our situation is very, very similar, if not identical, to other areas, and it's just about keeping up that persistence, I think.
So is that the board, or who does the hospital come under?
It's the ULHT Trust Board, so it's United Lincolnshire Hospital Trust.
Right. Okay.
But obviously then you've got your CCGs and all of that sort of stuff as well.
So you're
it's the
dealing with
ULHT.
CCGs.
Yeah, the ULHT made the decision to close the A&E at night due to staffing issues in their other hospital in Lincoln.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yes, and now the CCG, along with the STP, is coming in and saying that we're not going to have a 24-hour A&E, it will be an urgent care centre. So it's kind of like two issues that have amalgamated into one.
Have you found that NHS England and also the boards of various hospitals are always playing with language?
Absolutely. I was actually once told by a member of the local CCG that I shouldn't pay attention to the wording. To which I corrected her and told her I should be paying attention to the wording.
What's interesting to me is also they used A&E blue light 24 hour, and then we started to hear about these minor injury units and urgent care UCCs, and suddenly they cottoned on that we'd cottoned on, and then everything became an A&E only level 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Yes.
So they're always finding ways to try and fudge things. Do you think the community are keeping up with you?
Yeah, more so recently, the national press coverage. I think you always think in these sort of situations that it's not going to affect you, but the reality of it is it's going to affect every single one of us, and I think more and more people need to become aware of that. Don't wait until you're in that crisis situation where you need an A&E and it's not there for you. Fight for it now before it's gone.
Because your campaign is brilliant, but sadly it's kicked off because you are now physically experiencing.
Right.
A lot of campaign groups are struggling trying to.
Yeah.
But we talked about this earlier, that you're then accused of being scaremongers.
That's right.
How do you overcome that one?
I think the reality is that the people are starting to become aware because, they were accusing people of being scaremongers and are now actually facing those dilemmas themselves. And now that the Sustainability and Transformation Plan for our area has been leaked and then been actually put out there to the public, they're starting to realise that actually what we were actually saying and what the other campaign groups across at Boston and Lincoln were actually saying are actually true.
Yeah.
And we're the ones actually saying, we don't want to say we told you so, but we are now sitting there saying we did try to warn you.
Yeah.
But the hope is that now they're starting to wake up to that, and they're waking up to the reality of accident emergency departments being downgraded and moved altogether and closed altogether, along with maternity services. The whole of the south, west and east of Lincolnshire in particular are going to be left without services. And what we've tapped into recently this week is the fact that we need to know what the other footprints are doing, because if those other footprints are also doing the same, the distances that we're going to have to travel, if Lincoln becomes the super hub hospital that they keep talking about, we're going to have even further to travel if the other hospital areas are doing the same, on their footprints.
You mentioned what other, you're right, what's happening, the domino effect between the footprints, because you mentioned Peterborough in an earlier conversation with me. Peterborough is one of my main centralised services, or it's due to be. And if you're relying on it from South Lincolnshire, along with most of mid-Cambridgeshire, because Hinchinbrook will obviously get the cut in many ways, it's going to be chaos.
Well, Peterborough have recently been on black alert, haven't they? And our trust board seems to fail to recognise that must be something to do with our A&E being closed. So we need people from Peterborough to communicate with us really and tell us how their A&E is coping. Because
I think that is beginning to happen.
Oh, absolutely.
That's great. I think campaigners have done a really good job the last 12
absolutely.
months.
And I think the campaign groups all coming together and focusing on the national issue is having a massive effect on what the community are starting to wake up and realise is actually happening.
And you're from a nursing background.
I am. I'm a nurse.
So if you do a weekly vigil, how do the staff view that? Does it worry them or?
We were told at one stage, or the group were told, that we were bullying and scaring and intimidating staff, which is actually not the truth at all.
Yeah.
What we find is that staff have been told to not engage with us, not to engage with the group, and what we find is when we do come to meetings or when we do go to vigils, they're tooting their hooters, they're quietly putting thumbs up, ambulances are blue lighting as they go past, way, you know, and there's lots of support there. We've had staff in hospitals when we've gone to meetings flashing their badge and going quietly, you know, thank you. We get a lot of thank yous quietly. Some are now starting, I think because of the national press releases recently, and the fact that people are starting to put two and two together and come up with the right figure, not the figures that the government are coming up with. And the massage statistics and massaged figures that we keep getting thrown at us, they're starting to actually crawl out of the woodwork as well, and we're getting stories in the press now, we're getting private messages. I get a lot of emails and private messages, as does the Fighting for Grantham group, and it's really interesting seeing the take from staff. And I think the fact that I'm a nurse as well, saying I've watched this for 20 years, I'm not going to sit back anymore and listen to the nonsense that I'm being told, because we know it's nonsense. And we know there was a bigger ulterior motive for all of this happening, and we're not accepting it anymore. And I think people are starting to actually say, can I chip my 2 pennies worth in now, and can I say what it's like from the inside? So we're starting to get a lot more. I mean, I did say the other day that I think particularly United Lincolnshire Health Trust has got more leaks than the Titanic at the moment. But with a bit of luck, it won't be the hospitals that go down, it'll be the Trust Board members and the government.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about councils in a minute, because they've been dragged into the whole thing as well, with the social care side of things and the sustainability and transformation plan. But we're going to go somewhere else for that, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Okay, good. So thank you very much for being with us at A&E.
Join the campaign in your local area.
You'll find links down below the video window, hopefully. All right then, see you soon.
Bye.